Hello, welcome to Abundant Possibilities. My name is Sarah James, and today we're talking about periods. Yay! Which is not something I would have been wanting to talk about probably 5 years ago. I grew up not talking about periods at all. My mom was not somebody that had the period conversation with me. And I remember, being a child and watching TV shows, and the mom or whoever was the authority figure, somebody would start their period, a young girl, and then they would have this conversation with her about becoming a woman and all of that goes into it. And that was not my experience. Like, I don't remember my mom ever using the word period around me. And in fact, when I first got my period, I was just too embarrassed to say anything to her. I didn't want to talk about it. I went to my older sister and I asked her to ask my mom to get something for me, a pad or a tampon. I was too afraid to try tampons, but I was wanting to get something like a pad. And she was too embarrassed to tell my mom. She didn't want to say anything to her either. So I just had this experience of going through this transition, which was such an amazing, beautiful transition that I didn't even know the beauty of until years later. There's a little butterfly that just flew up and landed on my little plant. So I'm looking at that right now. So I wanted to talk about periods today. And I'm not going to claim to have all the information, but I will say that in the last 2 years, I've really woken up quite a bit to what this shedding actually has been, on a spiritual level, energetic level. It's just opened my eyes, and I found so much great information on YouTube. There were other women talking about this. So all of the information that I didn't get as a child, I was finally getting as a 41-year-old woman. So, it's never too late. It's never too late to learn something new. I just take a little drink of my water. I'm doing a little throat chakra because, this is not something that I have been super comfortable talking with in the past, and even to this day, talking to my sister about periods or talking to most friends about periods is not something that we sit around and do, no matter how much I want to sit and talk about all this stuff. Now that the door's been opened, it's just that there's so much information out there. So I wanted to share in this video just part of my experience, but then also some really amazing just lights along my journey that have guided me, and that have shown me something new and helped wake up this divine power that we all have as women and who have our periods. I don't know if you know too much about periods, and there's so much information out there, but a couple great videos that I wanted to put out there is a video by Teal Swan, and she does a video. I'm going to grab my computer here really quick. So, Teal Swan. I've talked about Teal in another video. She's one of the guides that I found on YouTube that has helped me along my journey, and just, I don't know, she's great. I really like her. So I'm going to throw her name out again because I found a really awesome video that she did, and it's called Periods and Menstruation. She talks about all the crystals and painting with your period blood, and how much power this blood has with stem cells and minerals, and it's a great video that she did. So I'm putting that out there. Teal Swan, Periods and Menstruation. Also Bridget Nielson. I love her in general. I subscribe to her. I love her energy. She's just got a beautiful light to her. So thank you, Bridget, for putting out those videos. I want you to know that I'm a great admirer of yours. So Bridget did a video called Living as the Divine Feminine, and that was really eye-opening as well. I think it's just great that we live in a world and a time where we're so much information is just right there at your fingertips. I mean, it's just a click of a button, and then my world was seriously just, what? I mean, look, I went from hiding away what my period was to putting it in a jar and then feeding my plants with it and giving it back to the earth and just cherishing it for what it is. This is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gift. And if you've been taught something other, that is a lie. The whole idea that women should be ashamed of talking about their periods or having a period even, the idea that this blood is so gross, but then we're so used to seeing somebody die on a battlefield and think that that's just what happens. Like, this is the only blood that should be shed onto the earth. There's so much information out there. People used to drink this blood. They used it as a healing. I mean, there's so much information. There's so much information. So I want to share all of the things in my experience to help you along your journey if you want to know more about what I know about. The third one is Water Priestess, and she has a video called The Healing Power of Menstrual Blood. That's a really great video as well. I don't know a ton of her videos, but I really like her energy too. So check out that video. Thank you, Water Priestess. Then the fourth one is The Naked Medium. I really like her video as well. She talks about things that, you know, in this spectrum that I've never heard of before either. She drops in some book recommendations. One of the books I actually grabbed, and I haven't finished it. It's somewhere in my book collection, but yeah, so it's The Naked Medium. I really like her, and it's the video is called Use the Magic of Your Period to Tap into Your Intuition. I mean, how amazing is that? Use the power of your period to tap into your intuition. I started my period early. Actually, it came a little bit early. We were in Joshua Tree, and it came on the full moon, which I feel is always just a blessing when now I'm aligned to the full moon and I can set my intentions that I want to have. I release the things that I no longer need to hold on to. I have my period piece, my little garnet that I like to wear, and the garnet is very special to me, and I'll tell you what the garnet means in a minute. But once I realized, I guess, just the power of what I was holding on to. When I was young, I was so embarrassed about it. I mean, I would go to class and I had these big pads, and then I'd get leaks, and I was so afraid to stand up and walk out because my period everybody would know that I'm on my period, and oh my God, how would I ever survive that kind of embarrassment? And you know what? I'm here. I survived it. And it sucked, but I survived it. And now, you know, I have a relationship where I can openly talk about my period to him. And not that he's so completely like, let's sit around and talk about your period, but I don't feel embarrassed about it anymore. I feel very loving towards it. I've changed my whole perspective of what this period means to me. And if I can help somebody else out there wake up to their beautiful, beautiful divine gift, then you're welcome. And I'm just here to share. So another video that I really liked is, it's called Gittemary Johansen, and she has a video about menstrual cups, because when I started off, I was using the huge pants. That was what existed back in the day. And then it wasn't until I got to, I think maybe 25 that I tried tampons for the first time. I was always afraid of trying tampons because of, you know, the toxic part of it and whatever. But I got into that mindset. But just the idea of so much waste, so much waste, so much waste going into our system after years. I mean, women bleed almost 8 years of their life, so the amount of tampons that get thrown away and the amount of pads, and I just knew I wanted to be more eco-friendly, and also I knew that basically learning my power, I needed to be able to touch it, if that makes sense, because it's messy. The first time I used a Diva cup, it was like, what the heck is going on? It wasn't something I was really prepared for, especially for somebody that, you know, when you think of this as this dirty thing or nasty or, you know, just the worst part of your life, or like you put so much negative energy towards something, and then it does become, you know, something that you don't want to touch. But I needed to reconnect with that aspect of myself. So using the Diva cup, it was an eye-opening experience for me. I mean, I think a lot of women could probably relate to that statement. It was an eye-opening experience. And I'm still working it out. There's so many great videos on there. And her videos were menstrual cup, 8 things I wish someone had told me, which I wish I would have found that video right when I started using the menstrual cups. But using them has helped me just open up to that aspect of myself in a beautiful way. It's like grounding, standing on the ground barefoot and getting recharged, touching it, knowing its power, putting it on you. I've seen videos of people drinking it. I have drank it before, and I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not going to be embarrassed about it. I wanted to be reconnected with this part of myself, and it was healing. I mean, it's healing. There's proof that it's healing, and it makes me upset that all this time I've been lied to. Like, people are getting lied to all the time to keep them small, to keep them down. Women have so much power that they haven't even tapped into. This blood is so much power that this generation, more people are remembering that women used to gather during their cycles and heal and pray and meditate and manifest. This used to happen. It still is happening, and maybe you're not part of one of those groups, but go on a meetup or create your own. Find women that are also in their cycle with you and sit around and sing or talk or share or write, whatever. That is like the best time. Women have so much power to join together. Look at the riots going on, you know, look at moms against drunk drivers. Women have so much power, and this blood is just a energy source. I mean, it really is on a spiritual level. The evidence is out there. I'm not the only one. And it feels good to finally realize that, because when I used to have my periods, it would be the worst time of the month. I mean, I was throwing up the first 2 days, just constantly throwing up, having the worst cramps, laying on the bathroom floor, just hating life. I mean, hating life. And I dated a guy for 5 years, and that was an amazing learning experience. And in that, he was also verbally abusive, and it was something where I'll get to on another story. But whenever I'd have my periods, he would make a point to tell me that I was the worst. Like, I was the worst on my period. Like, you're the worst, you're the worst. Well, I was just so sick. I was, like, physically throwing up and sick. Periods are there to let you know what it's time to get rid of. It's shedding. It's shedding this blood. It's shedding the wall. It's shedding. And it turns out that I needed to shed that relationship, because that was not serving me. That is not serving anybody to be told you're the worst, you're the worst. This period is something that's just magnificent. And now that I've woken up to how I can use it to manifest, how I can use it, and I don't say use it in this dominating way, it's just how I can actually utilize the power that I have. Once you realize your power, you're unstoppable. You can talk about things like this. It's okay to talk about things like this. And I wish my mom would have talked to me like this. This would have been nice, and it didn't happen, and that's okay. I'm still here talking about it, so she did whatever she needed to do, and I'll stay in my lane. But since I've awoken to this amazing gift, I haven't been sick one time. I mean, I haven't been sick during my period one time. I write more, I put on my bracelet, I do my meditations that I need to do, I listen to my body and figure out what it's needing. You know, if it's needing meat, if it's needing chocolate, if it's needing a dessert, if it's just needing love, if it's needing rest, then that's what I try to give it. Last night I put a heating pad on my back and I read a book in bed while the boys were playing Xbox downstairs, and I was in heaven. My body needed to just take a rest and relax. But yeah, so one thing that I will say though is we went to Joshua Tree and I started my period early. Like I said, I have this wonderful app called the Period Tracker, because I like to track my periods now, and it allows me to see when my cycle's going to come, when it's not going to come, and I attach it to a full moon app, or it's a moon app, so I can see what's going on with the moon period and keep track of it that way, which has been pretty awesome, actually, pretty fun. But I didn't have anything with me. I didn't have anything with me, so, you know, that moment of needing to rush out and get something, that's, you know, I wasn't prepared for that, but I handled it just fine. And when I got home, I put on my underwear. I got my Moxie, I think it's called Moxie underwear. I'll get the name of that, because that saved my life so many times too. I mean, when I was growing up, we didn't have period panties. I don't think that existed. I'm 40, I think 42 now, or 43. I can hardly remember. But we didn't have that stuff when I was growing up, and it would have saved me so much in school. So women have come a long, long way. Thank you for whoever invented period panties. I have a pair that I love. I have 2 different brands that I love, actually, and I'll put the link down below. And if you have a pair that you love, put a comment down below, because you could save somebody, or you could just introduce me to something new, and I love to just get some, I don't know, just get some new information and try something new and see if I like that even more. So I'll put the link down below, but yeah, I didn't have any of that, and I got home and I put on my little period panties and I just felt good, and ate some key lime pie that we made. I want everybody to experience this, and I know that they can. There's so much information out there. I know that you can also learn to appreciate your period. And that brings me to a book that a friend, and I'm going to call her a friend, even though I've met her one time. We did extra work a long time ago, and she moved to Hawaii, but she wrote a book. She wrote a book, and that's her right there. And I'm going to mess up her name a little bit, I feel like. It's Leanna Pareja. I'm not sure. And then Ashley Cottrell. They wrote a book about periods. I know somebody that wrote a book about periods. How amazing is this? It's so, I love it. It's full of information. It says, honor your bleed, your cycle is sacred. And let me just kind of throw in a couple lines. They have meditations that you can do. They have juices, recipes for things, how to know your cycle, autumn, spring, summer, fall, because everybody goes through these cycles. Women go through these cycles. Your period goes through cycles. The moon goes through cycles. We all align. which is why they have all these moons. But they have all this information about, you know, your uterus, what happens. They really did their homework. They really put a lot of time. They put a lot of love. They put themselves and their hearts into this book, and I highly, highly recommend it for anybody that wants to just support some wonderful, wonderful women or learn more about your periods. You can do both by ordering the blood book. And I'll have a link for that below as well. I'm not an affiliate with them, but I love to share love. And if this helps somebody, I want to do that. So I'll put the link down below. Let me just see a part of this. Celebrating macrame. Okay, so let's see, a spring, summer do. Be social, go to parties. They have all these tips and suggestions on what to do during the seasons, what not to do. Inner winter, current moon phase, waxing. There's a lot of good information in here. So I wanted to share that book with you, as this is something that's definitely helped me along my journey, and to know that somebody that I know is also awakening up to this new idea helps a lot. I mean, if I felt like I was the only one talking about this, I don't know how much I would want to talk about it, but it helps to know that more and more women are coming out, and more people are drinking their blood, more people are gathering, more women are singing together, more women are putting out content for other women, more women are talking about menstrual cups. I learned about menstrual cups from like a 12-year-old girl that has a ton of videos on menstrual cups. So I'm like, that's freaking awesome. Kudos to you for having all that confidence. That's awesome. So that is the list of the people, the wonderful women that have led me along this journey. And I'll put a link to all of them below, and you can check out their YouTube channels. But yeah, that's my story. I was not raised talking about periods. I was very uncomfortable with periods. I thought it was like the worst thing ever. In fact, I asked the doctor one time if I could get my tubes tied so I would no longer have my period, because my mom had a hysterectomy, and I heard her mention the word period one time when she was like so happy about never having to have her period again. So this was not something that I talked about at all to anybody. And maybe somebody out there that's listening to this right now has never talked about it to anybody either. I'm here. I don't know how much I could personally help you, but I know that all the people that I shared with you, they have a lot of information. So I recommend that you just do your research. And I love you. This is a time in the world where women have the possibility to heal the world. It can happen. This sacred blood, this is sacred blood. It has the power to heal. It has the power to create life. It is full of stem cells. It creates life. You cannot have life without this blood. What else can be more sacred than that? I know who I am. I know what I am. I know how I serve. I know who you are. I know what you are. I know how you serve. I love you.